Ahead of Saturday's crown jewel in Australia, Monday Night Raw hit the Netflix airwaves with a packed show featuring appearances from CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Elsewhere on the show, Maxine Dupree sought to humble Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch following a backstage beatdown last week, while Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez rekindled their rivalry. What else went down, and how did it impact the flagship show ahead of the final International PLE of 2025? Find out with this recap, including ratings and analysis for each of the night's segments and matches. Hey there, welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamy.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Thursday night for the Week 7 edition of College Football Thursday. A lot to get into, so we're not going to waste too much time, so let's dive on in. Monday Night Raw, live last night from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, the home of the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Stars. And we started it off, of course, with our obligatory promo segment. A week after gaining a measure of revenge on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker following an assault at Clash in Paris that left him sidelined for over a month, Roman Reigns opened Monday's Raw with an in-ring promo. Before the OTC could address his return, though, Roman was interrupted by Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman. Heyman put over the beating the Auszilla gave Reigns in Paris. The OTC shook off every attempt by the heels to rattle him, including Reed inciting his father's name, and did not hesitate to accept the challenge for an Australian street fight Saturday at Crown Jewel. And then Roman laid out Bronson with a pair of Superman punches to close out the segment. Honestly, there was not much to this segment from a substance standpoint, but Roman commanded the scene and we got another match for the Crown Jewel card out of it. So it was a success. That match, though, will ultimately mean little if Roman beats Bronson like he did in Paris and returns things to status quo in his war with the Vision. So I'll tell you what, this incarnation of the OTC dating back to the arrival of the Tribal Chief in 2020 is very cool and awesome. So not much more to not much more to get to on that. So MF, quick thought as we had this segment here. Roman Reigns, Bronson Reed, Australian street fight, Crown Jewel.
Yeah, no, it's going to get very interesting to see how they play this. At the end of the day, I thought it was a fine segment to open the show. Like you said, there wasn't really anything to really talk about. It was kind of more paint by numbers. So solid, good. Florio, go.
All right, MF, and we move on to our first match of the night. A non-title match. The Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch squaring off against Maxine Dupree. And the winner of the match in 13 minutes and 45 seconds via a countout, Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree winning the match via a countout in 13:45. MF, I get it. It's a countout outcome, but aside from that, was this Maxine's best match in WWE to date? I think it might have been.
It definitely was, no doubt about it. I think this was easily 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Maybe a slight argument for 4, but I don't think it's going to get there. However, what this was perfect storytelling. It was Maxine really taking the moment, taking it to Becky Lynch, and Becky's overzealousness, Becky's ego actually cost her the fight. She got a little too big for her bridges, thinking she was going to be this big old amazing thing, that she's the greatest of all time, and she was hamming it up right outside the ring, and Maxine was able to crawl back into the ring. But I kind of have to call something. Jessica Carr, you kind of were going traditional, you were doing a count, but then you went wicked fast right at the very end. The 8, 9, 10, and the ringing of the bell was super quick. It almost felt like you literally screwed Becky Lynch out of this fight. And I know anybody and everybody is going to be crying like, well, Becky got what she deserved. It was her ego, all this. No. If it was a traditional 8, 9, 10 and it was fine, but you could tell that there definitely was a fast count at the end. And that really irked me more than anything else. Not just as a and I even called it out on commentary where Florio even's like, I don't know, MF, I think you may have a point here. Michael Bullock was defending Maxine's win and the whole 9 yards. I didn't want to hear it. Becky Lynch got fast counted out. So, like I said, once it got up to 7, the minute Maxine got into the ring, you saw 8, 9, 10 ring the bell. And that's when you're like, wait, huh? What? So, I don't know. Was that storyline? Because you know Becky Lynch is going to make a stink about it. Oh my God, she was making a stink about it last night. So, I don't know if this is storyline where the referee kind of took liberties on her job here. I don't know, but it was still 3.5 to 3 3/4. Definitely Maxine's greatest performance. But again, everything shifted to the spotlight to Jessica Carr because of her fast count at the end. And let me tell you, Anthony Florio, boy, I was hopping mad. It's a good thing the show was not on last night because I probably would have been going on a Cerebral Viper rant. Florio, it's yours.
Oh, no doubt about it. You would have gone on a Cerebral Viper rant. I mean, who knows? We probably could have had a May 19th of 2017 like incident last night. Who knows? If we were all together.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, this was outstanding. And if anyone has any questions as to why Becky Lynch is the greatest of all time, all the evidence was here. She had a great match with an unproven competitor, had the fans biting on every near fall, and delivered the facial expressions and body language necessary to put over the shock of the loss. And kudos to Maxine Dupri as well, who has clearly been working hard to improve her in-ring game. While it was choppy early, she settled and delivered big time in one of her most important performances to date. So I think 3 3/4 might be a little bit of a reach. I think 3.5 is the correct rating for this match, but it definitely is one of the top matches of the night for sure. And by hook or by crook, it's Maxine Dupri's biggest win to date. Yes, it was via a countout, but still, you can say I defeated Becky Lynch in a match. Could it be a championship committee moment? Could this put Maxine in line for a title shot down the road? Could be. So
it's possible. It's possible.
But we still have to. But let's not forget AJ Lee.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, because remember, it was AJ who tapped out Becky at WrestlePalooza.
And yet she hasn't gotten even her shot at the title yet. Has not gotten the shot at her title yet. So yes, absolutely.
They probably didn't want to waste it on Australia, so they're probably
Survivor Series in San Diego.
Very possible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's not forget we got two huge Monday Night Raws coming up back to back. Boston,
TD Garden and Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
Could they be saving it for one of those shows?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if you remember, CM Punk had won one of his world championships in Madison Square Garden. Does Lightning strike twice? Does AJ get the Intercontinental Women's title in Madison Square Garden in the world's most famous arena, our home away from home, Anthony?
So that CM Punk did that, of course, Survivor Series 2011, defeating Alberto Del Rio for the WWE Championship, and that began that epic 434-day title reign. in which he didn't lose, and he held that thing all the way until the 2013 Royal Rumble before losing it to The Rock. So, but we'll see. So 3.5 stars for that. And we move on to this was a common theme last night. We had a lot of women's matches. I'm glad that they got a showcase, and it was a renewal of a great rivalry in NXT. It was Lyra Valkyria, Bayley in her corner versus Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez in her corner. Roxanne Perez wins the match, 9 minutes and 20 seconds. All right. Solid 3-star match. Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez have great chemistry, so even their lesser matches are still fairly good. With that said, it felt like more of the same that we have seen over the last couple of weeks. The Bayley stuff has been great, but we need to see less of the same 4 competitors wrestling every week to avoid burnout on the in-ring content. And speaking of burnout, I mean, those 4 had a backstage brawl. They brawled backstage, and then enter angry Adam Pearce, who absolutely positively lost his dang mind. Get out. Oh. MF, you know the man a little more than I do, going back to his Ring of Honor days. Have you ever seen him that angry before?
No. Like, what? I seen Mad. That was a whole new level. Oh no, I never saw that in my life. Like, that was bad. That was really, really, really bad.
And that lately has become a running gag between myself and Michael Bullock. I mean, Bullock and I we usually go nuts. We usually go on laugh riots when we see Adam Pearce get that angry. And we did not have a Raw chat last night, but if we did and we saw that moment, we would have been going nuts. So, but anyways, solid 3-star match, and not much more to say. So MF, Roxanne Perez defeating Lyra Valkyria, 920, solid 3 stars. And let's just say the war is far from over with Lyra and Bayley in the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I know. 3-star bout, definitely a total agreement on that one. Solid fight. Could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. And like you said, you're absolutely right about one thing. Their rivalry has been really good, and on top of that, Anthony, they do a great job. They tell a great story. So there's really not much that we need to talk about here. So let's move on. It's yours.
Okay. Okay, just needed to see one quick thing. Okay. All right, here we go. CM Punk out for a promo, wasted little time turning his attention to Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Championship, vowing to earn his title back by the end of the year. And then he got interrupted by LA Knight, still not abandoning his pursuit for the world title. He applauded Punk on cultivating love, but claimed he has been more focused on being a husband than winning against Rollins. The megastar told Punk that he has never lost to Rollins, and the best in the world responded by reminding him that he has never been world champion either. Enter main event Jey Uso, heeding cousin Roman Reigns' advice from earlier in the show, and came face-to-face with the other prospective number 1 contenders. He threw down his claim to the world title. Jimmy Uso hit the ring, allowing Jey to rock LA Knight with a super kick. After a few more words from Punk denouncing the former world champion's new attitude, the straight-edge superstar took Jey down, earning him a super kick from Jimmy to close out the segment. So, not much more to say. MF, the 3 most popular guys on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk, LA Knight, Jey Uso, they all have a valid point to be the next challenger for Seth freaking Rollins in the World Heavyweight Championship. But how in the world is Adam Pearce and company going to settle this?
You're going to have to settle in a triple threat. I don't think there's any way that you can. There's no other way that this can be settled. It has to be settled in a triple threat, and it's gonna have to be done in very soon. I mean, obviously, Australia probably is out of the question. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that.
No.
Maybe Boston, maybe New York, maybe that could be the next event coming up. Or got because you kind of have to feel like Rollins, unless Seth Rollins is going to be a part of War Games, which it's very possible.
I
I
think
don't
so.
know, because the only other show I can think of, like truthfully, honestly, where you might want to do a match of this kind of magnitude, maybe Saturday night's main event in Washington D.C., the farewell to John Cena. I mean, that's that's a possibility. If you're gonna make it one of the biggest nights ever, why not put the world heavyweight title on the line on the Saturday night's main event in Washington? And I mean, that's kind of where my logic and thinking is going. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that for sure. What looked like a repetitive segment aimed at determining the number one contender out of the same three who last competed for that recognition instead evolved into CM Punk and LA Knight finding themselves on the receiving end of the determined Usos. More importantly, it set up a high-profile tag team match for sooner rather than later. So we'll address that in a little bit for the main event. Next up, we had it was the battle of former Damage Control sisters, Io Sky squaring off against Kairi Sane, Asuka in Kairi Sane's corner. Kairi Sane wins the match in 10.5 minutes. Asuka, the difference maker. So I'll tell you what. With Rhea Ripley and Io Sky likely to go over in Australia, Kairi needed to win here. She and Asuka are hot as they have been in years. And with the moral anxiety facing the Pirate Princess, it makes sense to allow them to get one over on the babyfaces leading into their biggest match in years. The moment Kairi Sane turns on Asuka, the crowd is going to erupt, and everyone involved will be even bigger stars as a result. I could have given this 3.5, but I'm going to bump it down to 3.25 because of the Asuka fearance there. But other than that, very good match between two great, talented workers, and there's not much more to say. Kairi Sane winning the match over Io Sky in 10.5 minutes. Asuka fearance ruling the roost here. And then the Kabuki Warriors get over because of Rhea being back home in Australia. But that's not going to be the case come Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 3.25 stars, total agreement. I could even go 3. But it's still a solid fight. I'm not gonna argue. And everything that you said is absolutely correct. I think they did a fine job with what they handled, fine job with the situation. So yeah, really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's back to you.
All right. And then we had a backstage segment. They had another chapter in the video package series with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And the Desperate World Champion asked Paul Heyman what happens if he loses to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. Heyman conveniently left himself out of the answer, and the Visionary called him out on it. And the Oracle said at some point he would have to ask himself why he chose Seth Rollins instead of Roman Reigns. And speaking of Roman, he surveyed a disagreement between the Usos with the former taking exception to his brother interrupting him during the promo segment earlier and accusing him of protecting CM Punk. Jay stomped off, leaving Reigns to warn Jimmy that when his brother won the world title, he became more like the OTC and less like Jimmy. And Reigns said sometimes the best way to help him is to get out of his way. His influence clearly affecting Jay. The videos detailing the history between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins before they compete against each other at Crown Jewel have been extraordinary. A great reminder of WWE's top-notch production team. And what's that old saying? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. For all the talk about a new or changed Reigns, it seems like there is plenty of the same manipulative villain in him that we knew during the height of his run atop the WWE mountain. Definitely got to keep an eye on that. 6-man tag team action. AJ Styles, Penta, Dragon Lee versus the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. AJ Styles, Penta, Dragon Lee win the match, 14 minutes and 10 seconds. I mean, fine match, but I do have one bit of constructive criticism. 6 of the most entertaining in-ring performers on the roster, and the match was interrupted by not one, but 2 commercial breaks, completely ruining its flow and effectiveness. However, the match was fine, but this was more about highlighting the many different issues Dominic Mysterio has got himself into. That is not a bad thing, considering he has the most upside of all in the ring at this point. But it really feels like Penta has cooled off significantly, and Dragon Lee should be a bigger star than he is. 3 1/4, 3.5. That's the best I can go. So not much more to say. MF, fine match, but you have 6 very talented workers, and the flow got ruined by those 2 commercial breaks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Total agreement with that. 3.5 stars is my rating for the match. And yeah, like you said, the commercial breaks actually kind of hindered this. And this is weird because normally you would think that Netflix would allow WWE to give them a little more leeway, because of the commercial breaks and everything else. And they kind of, the timing of the breaks were horrible. Like you can't deny that. So yeah, major disappointment. Could have been better in certain elements, but nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay. All right, let me just see. No, then they ran down the Crown Jewel card, and well, actually, no, we actually do have some matches for next week's show that were announced. Just bear with me for just a moment. Whoa. Okay. All right. Dominic Mysterio will defend the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Penta. Penta gets his Intercontinental title match. And on top of that, we're also going to see Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Oh, by the way, that match, or should I say this show, it'll be at 8 o'clock, but not 8 o'clock at night. We're talking 8 o'clock in the morning. We're talking 8 a.m. So instead of having dinner with this show, you're having breakfast with this show next week. So, but for those of you who can't, be up for that show, no problem. It's going to be on demand as soon as it's done anyway. So, but then again, it's a holiday. Monday's a holiday, Columbus Day, so works out good. So, but however you want to do it, that's all up to you guys. So 8 a.m. Eastern, right here, because of the fact that it's going to be in Australia at the RAC Arena, just like SmackDown will be on Friday, and then the Crown Jewel on Saturday. So, all right. So with that being said, let's get to our main event of the evening. It was CM Punk and LA Knight squaring off against the Usos. CM Punk and LA Knight win the match, 9.5 minutes. Punk hitting Jay with a GTS. LA Knight tagging himself in and stealing the pinfall. Oh, wow. Do I lead off on this, MF, or is it you?
It's you. It's you, Anthony.
I thought
you
so.
lead off.
Okay. Yep. 3 1/4. Like the 6-man tag match before it, this was criminally short. With that said, the pacing was strong. The finish was clever. Not only does it intensify the tension between Punk and Knight over their world title hopes, but Jay lost the fall, which will earn him the scorn of Roman Reigns. So 3.25. MF, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, three stars. I thought they did a fine job. Yeah, I was a little surprised that they, you would think that, just for the mere fact you probably would give the loss to Jimmy, just so that you make Jay a little more better. But no, they decided to pull the trigger and let Jay fall on the banana peel on this one. So, ooh boy, this is gonna make things very interesting to say the very least. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it is yours.
All right, MF, your overall thoughts on last night's go home show for Australia?
Fine Monday Night Raw. I think we can say that this was definitely a very solid show, and I really enjoyed it from beginning to end. And if you're looking for an actual rating, I'll give this about maybe 8 out of 10. I thought they did a fine job with it. I think they mixed everything together. So yeah, really nothing more, nothing bad to say. And Anthony is yours.
What was that rating again? I was a little sidetracked.
I said 8.
That's what I thought. Okay. Um, yeah, that's about right. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. No doubt about it here. As the go home episode of Raw ahead of a PLE, I got to be honest, it was a little underwhelming for me. We got a nice little angle from the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky and the introduction of a new match on the show in the form of Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. But the rest of the card was woefully underhyped, even with the great Cody and Seth video. But with that said, there was a ton to like about this broadcast. Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree. Yes, you heard me right. Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree stole the show with a banger of a match that had no right to be as great as it was. They put in the work, and the crowd rewarded them with the hottest reaction of the night. Dirty Dominic Mysterio continues to earn the attention of opponents for the wrong reasons. Paul Heyman's loyalty to Seth Rollins, or lack thereof, was called to the floor. And the Bloodline's latest chapter is being written with every passing week, with the renewed influence of Roman Reigns on Jey Uso. Though the hype for Saturday's show was so-so at best, it was still a successful broadcast, thanks in large part to the other stories preparing to affect the Red brand moving forward. So it's a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I agree with that. So with that being said, now, this I can honestly say it's probably the most excited we have been for an NXT broadcast in some time. I want to say maybe since the show at the theater at Madison Square Garden in March. This was the WWE NXT versus TNA showdown. Tonight's episode was the NXT versus TNA showdown special. So we got to see the two brands do battle in not one, but two Survivor Series style elimination matches. While this angle was initially started as an invasion of sorts, it quickly turned more into a cooperative effort between brands than a fight. Ricky Saints and JC Jane led the NXT teams, while Mike Santana and Kalani Jordan headed the TNA teams. In addition to the two big elimination matches, we also saw Mustafa Ali challenge Ethan Page for the North American Championship, and the Hardys battling Dark State with the NXT and TNA World Tag Team Championships on the line. Let's take a look at what happened on the NXT versus TNA showdown episode of NXT from the CWC, the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida. And we started it off with the winner-take-all match for both the TNA and NXT Tag Team Championships, as it was TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, squaring off against the NXT Tag Team Champions, Dark State. I believe it was Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin. Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin were the with the representatives. The other two members of Dark State banned from ringside. Great ruling in that one. So here we go. This was it. This was the winner take all matchup. The winners of the match in 10 minutes and 48 seconds. And the TNA and NXT Tag Team Champions, Matt and Jeff, the Hardys, the Hardy Boys, they win the NXT Tag Team Championship. They just add another accolade to their Hall of Fame resume. They do it in 10 minutes and 48 seconds. Wow. I'll tell you what. We were talking. We were always saying, when was it going to be the moment for TNA to finally get an NXT championship? Well, we finally got one here tonight. The Hardys winning the NXT Tag Team Championship and retaining their TNA Tag Team Championship. This was two veterans taking on two up-and-coming superstars who, despite having already won the NXT Tag titles, were still looking for their breakout moment. You could see how hard Osiris Griffin and Dion Lennox worked to make sure they looked good against a legendary duo. Even though you could see a huge difference in experience, this ended up being a solid choice to open the show. The crowd was into it, and both teams brought a lot of energy. And Dion Lennox has great explosivity. The way he took down Matt with a simple clothesline looked awesome because he had so much intensity behind it. So, but not much more to say on that. 3 to 3.25 stars is my rating for the match. So there isn't much more to say except MF. Time of the fall, 10:48. The Hardys, TNA, and new NXT Tag Team Champions. Hit us with those magic words, Monsoon.
Yes, indeed. It's history being made, unprecedented crowning, and now undisputed, undefeated, unified tag team champions of the world. And for the first time in this rivalry, TNA gets NXT gold, and they're bringing it. I mean, this is an incredible moment, unbelievable history-making event. We were saying, when was TNA going to get the Duke? When are they going to get it? When are they going to get the win? When are they going to get a pair of titles? Because NXT's got two of TNA's titles. Well, here it is. And you know what? We should have expected that this, and we were thinking that if there was one titles that were vulnerable, this was it, and it happened. So congratulations to the Hardy Boys. 3.25 stars for the match. Well done. Nothing more to say. Anthony, go.
And before we do, I just came across this tweet from Bully Ray on X. Went ahead and he said congratulations to the Hardys, but he said congrats to Matt and Jeff Hardy. Our tables match at Bound for Glory just became even more interesting. He also he concluded by saying, and I quote MF, the NXT Tag Team Championships need to be on the line also. Do you think? Do you think we could get both TNA and NXT Tag Team Championships on the line Sunday night? Bound for Glory? Hardy's Dudley's table match?
I think Thursday is about to get very interesting if this show is live. If it's a live episode, I don't know. But this just got very interesting. We might have to keep a close eye on that, because if it is, like we've already said, the match was already amazing. Imagine it being an undisputed for both the TNA and NXT tag titles. Oh my God. It's just going to, it just takes this to a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, here we go. The first of the two traditional Survivor Series elimination matches. We all know how these matches go. You can be eliminated in any shape or form, of course. Pinfall, submission, countout, disqualification, or the vastly underrated referee's indiscretion, who they can use that, which they could use to eliminate a superstar due to injury. Go back to the very first one in '87. That's where you get that from. But anyways, both of these matches had special guest referees. And the special guest referee for this women's Survivor Series match, the Juggernaut, Jordynne Grace, selected to be the special guest referee for this match. It's Team NXT versus Team TNA. Representing Team TNA, Knockouts champion Kalani Jordan, Knockouts tag team champions Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay, The Inspiration, and formerly Jakara Jackson, Mara Sade. Representing Team NXT, NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne, Lola Vice, Jada Parker, Ms. Parker if you're nasty, and, of course, the double champion, the Women's North American and Speed Champion, Sol Ruca. And the winners of the match, in a total time of 23 minutes and 9 seconds, Team NXT wins the match, and the sole survivors, Jacy Jayne and Sol Ruca. JC and Sol winning this traditional Survivor Series match. So not much more to say. MF. We got Michael Bullock. We'll catch Bullock up in a little bit, but MF, let's get your thoughts. You were going to be leading off anyway. Team NXT winning this women's Survivor Series elimination match, 23-09, and it was Jacy Jayne and Sol Ruca as the survivors. How about it?
Yeah. In a way, I'm a little surprised at the survivors. Because if you remember, I called for Lola Vice and Jada Parker to be the survivors. So for them to get knocked out and for JC and Sol to win it, I mean, Sol definitely, no doubt. I get it. And JC, yeah, she's the women's champion. So, but the thing is, it's all about survival. It's all about doing what you need to do to get the job done. And they got the job done. So, it's kind of one of those where it was a fine matchup. Every woman had a moment in the match. You had those great pairings with all the different styles. So it was a solid match. At the end of the day, I'm happy for Sol Ruca and I'm happy for Jacy Jayne. And yeah, give credit where credit's due. NXT, going in, we said it was going to be we were hoping for a mixed bag. Well, we'll talk about the men later on, but for this one, this was easily 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I thought they did a tremendous job under the pressure. The only drawback that there was a couple of commercials that did drain the fight a little bit, but at the end of the day, this was a very good Survivor Series elimination battle for the women. Hats off to the TNA women for making it into a great matchup. But tonight it was NXT cementing their flag that they do indeed have the best women's division in the world. This proves it. This battle was for the women's supremacy. NXT wins. So nothing more to say. Anthony, I guess we can fill in Michael Bullock on what he's missed up to this point.
Yes, we will. And we'll try to do it as quickly as we can. So Bullock, come on in. Phenom Michael Bullock is here, folks. So let's bring him on in. So let's get you caught up on last night's Monday Night Raw. We had the promo segment with Roman Reigns and interrupted by Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman. It sets up Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight at Crown Jewel. Quick thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, this was no surprise that this was going to happen. I mean, that after what happened when Roman got beat down, you knew he was going to get his payback, and now he's got an opportunity at Crown Jewel in an Australian street fight. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with it. So, nothing more to say.
Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree, non-title match. Maxine Dupree wins the match via a countout in 13:45.
I'll tell you what. I mean, so I'm going to give this. I'm going to give this 3, maybe even teetering on 3.25. And I got to be honest with you, Florio. I think this is Maxine Dupree's best match that I could ever remember.
That's what we said.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, yes, she did win the match, but I'm sorry, Florio. I can't call championship committee moment because she did win via countout, and you only get championship committee moments if you win via pinfall or submission.
Decisively.
Qualification or countouts, sorry, doesn't count. So, yes, Maxine, you won the match, but sorry, girl, no championship committee moment for you.
And we still have AJ Lee waiting in the weeds too. So
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's the end, the ultimate end game here for Becky Lynch and AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I'll be quite honest, also, Florio.
Yes.
Becky's got no one to blame but herself because she was all outside bragging. She was trash talking with the fans and not paying attention to the count. She can whine and complain all she wants, but she's got no one to blame but herself for being counted out.
Well, but Jessica Carr, you got to admit that was a little quick on on those last few counts.
Oh, come on, Florio. Fast or not fast. Whether it's Becky Lynch or anybody, you got to pay attention no matter what.
Ring awareness, folks. Ring awareness.
Yeah, I mean, fast or not fast, you got to pay attention to the referee's count no matter what.
Exactly. Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. Here's some NXT for you. Roxanne Perez winning in 9:20.
Yeah, and again, I mean, obviously the women for the Judgment Day winning this one, and I don't know, and obviously it sets up well with next week. It's going to end up being Bayley and Lyra against Roxanne and Raquel. So we'll see what happens with that. So nothing more to say.
And then there was an in-ring promo. CM Punk interrupted by LA Knight and Jey Uso. They all laid claim for the World Heavyweight Championship, and it sets up a huge tag team match with CM Punk and LA Knight against the Usos in our main event.
That's something. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, the first time we're seeing CM Punk since WrestlePalooza, and yeah, I mean, everybody was laying claim to want the next shot at Seth Rollins in the World Heavyweight Championship, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and setting up our next match, it was Io Sky versus Kairi Sane, and Kairi Sane winning the match in 10:30.
What was the time again?
10:30.
Yeah, I'll give this about 2.5 to 3. I mean, obviously, Asuka with the little assist here, and I mean, we saw backstage. I mean, Kairi didn't want this match. She was she wanted to keep this family together, but Asuka wasn't having it. Basically saying, you'll go through with this match, you will beat up Io, and if you don't, there'll be major repercussions. So, and you could see Kairi is still conflicted in all this, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on this. If Kairi being conflicted is all a ruse, or if it is for real.
6-man tag team matchup: AJ Styles, Penta, and Dragon Lee versus the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. AJ, Penta, Dragon Lee win the match in 14-10.
3.5 stars is my rating for the match. I mean, yeah, this was a solid match here, and obviously you wanted to give the face team the win because you want to give AJ some momentum going into his matchup with John Cena at Crown Jewel, and where they'll face off for the final time, and where AJ Styles hopes to, what does he hope to do, Florio?
Beat up John Cena.
You think it's going to happen, but I'm going to give you, I just don't see that happening. So, but we'll see. We'll see. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on.
And next week on Monday Night Raw in Perth, Australia, special start time of 8 a.m. Eastern. Dominic Mysterio defending the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Penta. And we get Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez after that epic backstage brawl the four of them had, where Adam Pearce absolutely lost his damn mind. Yeah, you remember that, Bullock.
Yeah, that's what I just did.
Yeah, Adam Pearce absolutely going nuts. I mean, I know we didn't have a Raw chat last night, but if we did and we saw that, we would have been going crazy during that.
Yeah, no,
because you know how much we love angry Adam Pearce.
Yeah, and this is why you never get on Adam Pearce's bad side, or you're gonna find out the hard way.
Main event: CM Punk, LA Knight versus the Usos. CM Punk and LA Knight winning it in 9:30. CM Punk hitting a GTS on Jey Uso, but LA Knight tagged himself in and stole the pin.
Yeah, I'll give this 2.5, 2 3/4. I mean, CM Punk was hoping to get the win, but LA Knight basically stole it from him. I mean, it's almost like he's trying to say, no. I'm getting the win here, so that way I get my opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship, not you. And like he said in his promo, you don't deserve a title shot because you lost the title after holding it for just 5 minutes at SummerSlam.
Yeah. So, overall thoughts?
I thought it was a good show. I mean, it definitely could have been better in some spots, but not really all that much to complain. So I'll give this about maybe 7.5.
All right, and let's get you caught up on the first little bit of NXT TNA Showdown. Winner take all for the NXT and TNA Tag Team Championships. TNA Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, versus NXT Tag Team Champions, Dark State. It was Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin representing Dark State. Winners of the match, 10 minutes and 44 seconds. And the undisputed Tag Team Champions, TNA and NXT, the Hardys. How about it?
What was the time?
10:44.
Yeah, 3.25 on this one. I mean, I'm telling you, Florio, the Hardys may be up there in age, but they could still definitely get it done in the ring, as we saw firsthand when we went to that TNA event at URI.
Absolutely.
I mean, and now they make history once again. I mean, they've won tag team championships in the main roster with the WWE and the Raw tag team titles, but now they can add the NXT tag team titles to it.
And who knows? Maybe a Bound for Glory, the Hardys and the Dudleys for both the NXT and TNA tag titles in that tables match.
And the Dudleys were there.
They were there.
Yeah. So, well, we're going to have to wait and see to see if it's for both or if it's just for the TNA tag team titles.
Well, we shall find out.
Yeah, and let's just say, for good time's sake, Florio, that championship victory was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Delightful. Yes.
And no doubt they'll be celebrating with green beans for everyone.
Yes.
Oh, baby. All right. And the match that we were just talking about, the women's Survivor Series elimination match, Team NXT, Team TNA, Kalani Jordan and the along with the Inspiration and Mara Sade. They went up against JC Jane, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Lola Vice. Team NXT winning it in a total time of 23 minutes and 11 seconds. Soul Survivors, JC Jane, and Sol Ruka. But nonetheless, Bullock, score one for your brand, NXT.
Yep, they score one. Yeah, what a match that was. It was about me. What did you guys give it?
MF gave it around 3.5, 3 3/4, I believe. And,
yeah, so I would give it somewhere in that 3.5, 3 3/4 range. But yeah, well, obviously you needed your current women's champion to be one of the sole survivors, and well, obviously both her and Sol Ruka. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yes, we shall. So, anyways, getting into my thoughts here. The match was given enough time to breathe, but the eliminations were clumped together. It was entertaining at times, but it did have a handful of sloppy moments that hurt the overall quality. Team NXT had a big advantage with Kalani Jordan being alone against 3 of them, but their own issues almost got in the way. And it was JC scoring the win for Team NXT, but Kalani almost made a successful comeback. And it's still weird that an NXT talent led Team TNA in what was supposed to be an invasion angle. Jada Parker and Lola Vice would be a fun tag team in the women's division. They bring similar energy to their characters. 5 of the 8 women in this bout had a championship title belt, with Sol Ruka having 2. And hey, the Inspiration coming out to their old iconic theme song. How cool was that? But nonetheless, this is right around the 3.5 to 3 3/4 range. So very good match. The outcome never in doubt. We knew NXT was going to win that match. All right. NXT North American Championship on the line. The champion, All Ego Ethan Page, representing NXT, versus TNA's Mustafa Ali. Winner of the match, 14 minutes and 19 seconds, and still the NXT North American champion. It is All Ego Ethan Page. Michael Bullock, you lead off. Ethan Page keeps the NXT North American title in NXT. He does it in 14-19 against Mustafa Ali. And what was a very good
another
match.
very good match. I'll give this about 3.5 stars. I mean, yeah, the outcome to me was never a doubt. You knew All Ego Ethan Page was going to retain the title here. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So it's yours, Florio.
This was a hard-hitting and exciting match that made both men look incredible. In fact, I think this was the best match Ethan Page has had in months, if not longer. He and Mustafa Ali worked perfectly to blend their styles for this bout. And WWE acknowledging that Ali was released after earning a title shot was surprising, but it gave good continuity to the story and helped them establish the match without much of a story needed. So, and there was one notable spot during this match. Mustafa Ali's tope suicida that sent both men over the announce table was wild, but the bump he took when Ethan shoved him off the top turnbuckle to the floor was even more nuts. And you notice his foot got caught in some cords around the ringside area, so that definitely had a role in that. But nonetheless, very good match. Another 3.5 to 3 3/4 star match. Not much more to say. MF, we both of us thought that this was going to be the match where TNA was going to take the NXT championship belt here, but no, Ethan Page successfully defends, and it was the Hardys winning the tag titles instead.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens, man. Sometimes we call it, sometimes we don't, but TNA does get a title. That's all that matters. TNA took an NXT title away tonight. That's the big story coming out of this. Nothing more to say. This was a 3-star bout, a 3.5 star bout. You're absolutely right, and there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right, guys. Next week on NXT, it looks like we got 3 matches announced. It's going to be Zarya squaring off against Blake Monroe. And we're also going to get Josh Briggs versus Matt Cardona. And on top of that, Lexis King goes one-on-one with the Triple A Latin American champion himself, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. So we're going to get Dr. Wagner on NXT next week. And I know MF's got to be excited about that because we all know he's our port authority on all things AAA. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, guys, let's get into the main event of the evening. The men's Survivor Series elimination match. Team TNA, represented by team captain Mike Santana, alongside of international champion Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and X Division champion Leon Slater. They squared off against Team NXT, consisting of team captain NXT champion Ricky Saints, TNA World Heavyweight Champion Trick Williams, Miles Bourne, and Javon Evans. Special guest referee, none other than Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry named the referee for this match. When all was said and done, the winners of the match in a total time of 22 minutes and 49 seconds, Team TNA picks up the win, and the survivors, Mike Santana and Moose. Santana and Moose bring it home for TNA. Yeah. Much like the women's match earlier in the night, matches with this many competitors can be hard to manage sometimes, but thankfully this bout had several experienced veterans who helped it stay on track. Ricky Saints put up a great fight and managed to eliminate 2 TNA competitors after being ditched by Trick Williams, but Mike Santana and Moose were too much for Ricky, and Santana and Moose gets the win for TNA. It is wild that this is the first time that Frankie Kazarian has been in a match on WWE television. He has had a great career, but he only had a short stint in OVW, so this was his first official match for WWE. And I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, the exchange that Leon Slater and Trick Williams had was a lot of fun, and Trick was really laying in those chest chops. So tough to rate, I'll be honest. I think we'll give it right around that, once again, that same threshold, at 3.5 to 3 3/4, unless any of us are compelled to go higher on it. But regardless, this was the correct outcome. I'm not surprised that TNA won this match. I knew they would, and not much more to say. MF, Team TNA, Mike Santana and Moose, 22:49, the time of the fall. You said it last week. You said Trick Williams was going to be the difference maker, and I believe you had that one.
Yeah, if there was any way that TNA was going to win this battle and win it, it's going to be because Trick Williams was going to sabotage the team. Trick Williams, with his ego, being both the TNA World Heavyweight Champion and trying to be that influential guy on the squad, he was the albatross, and he cost NXT this battle. But if you really think about it, it ends up being a wash. It ends up being a wash more than anything else because of the fact that, NXT got 2 wins, TNA got 2 wins. So all in all, if you think about it, hindsight 2020, both teams cannot get ultimate victory. So because they were, in the immortal words of Ben Size Money, they were intellectual equals. So this is kind of one of those type of events where, TNA can have some bragging rights. They can brag about, the Hardys taking home the NXT tag team titles. And then they can also brag that they have the best men's division in wrestling today. That their men's division is better than NXT. And you can even though I know it's not a major thing, but you can say that the TNA men, you could even say are maybe even on par with men from AEW and the men from the WWE. I mean, you can make that argument now. So just like how the women's can say that the NXT women's is the best women's division in wrestling today, you can say on this occasion that the TNA men has the best division in this realm of professional wrestling, in this, in this instant. So at the end of the day, it ends up being a draw. It ends up being, TNA gets 2, NXT got 2, intellectual equals. So all in all, I think Ava and Mr. Santino Marella can both celebrate here tonight and have reasons to celebrate because of the outcome of many of the matches that went down tonight. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, again, 3.5 to 3 3/4 is the correct rating, and it is all yours, my friend.
Yeah, 3.5, 3 3/4 is my rating as well for this. I mean, yeah, it's equal. So you could say that there were no real, well, I mean, basically the fans were the winners because, I mean, look, both TNA and NXT, I mean, got 2 wins, and it's pretty much a draw. And you saw, I mean, Ava and Santino Marella were happy to do business on a special night like this. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So it's yours, Florio, for the overall thoughts.
And Bullock mentioned it. They had at the tail end of the show, we cut to a shot of Ava and Santino Marella. Ava announcing that next week there's also going to be a women's battle royal, and she extended the invitation to Santino to have TNA knockouts be a part of this battle royal as well. And whoever wins this battle royal will be the next challenger for JC Jane and the NXT Women's Championship. So that's the big selling point for next week's show, which I got a bad feeling is probably going to be a back to reality show after this very good show here tonight. All right, hold on. Froze on me for a second. Okay. The big TNA versus NXT showdown ended up being the definition of 50-50 booking, with each brand taking home 2 wins. The Hardys won the NXT Tag Team Championships, and Team TNA won the Men's Survivor Series elimination match. Ethan Page retained the North American Championship against Mustafa Ali, and Team NXT won the Women's Survivor Series elimination match. This felt a little bigger than a normal episode of NXT, but it didn't feel big enough to be the monumental WWE versus TNA show fans have waited many years to see. I think the fight of the night was Mustafa Ali and Ethan Page. I thought they put on the best match of the night by a huge margin. The tag and 2 elimination bouts all had their upsides, but nothing came close to the North American Championship match. The partnership with WWE and TNA is going to continue for the foreseeable future, so we should expect to see more events like this periodically. Definitely keep an eye on Bound for Glory Sunday night. So 8 to 8.5 out of 10. Heck, I could go like 8.5 to 9 if I wanted to, but it's right around that threshold, no doubt about it. One of the best NXT shows of the year, and I want to hold off the Crown Jewel preview because of the fact that they could add more matches if you really think about it. They might, but if they don't, then we'll just maybe we can sneak in a quick preview maybe after we do the college football on Thursday. So because it's a somewhat of another light docket. I think it's only 18 this time around. So I know we got a lot of goodies in there, but we usually get that show done rather somewhat quickly. So, and there's only 5 matches that have been announced, and we usually get 5 matches on the card. So maybe we should hold that off until Thursday night for that. And with that, we will have one last order of business here tonight.
You totally just bypassed us on our overall reviews there, Florio.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, MF. Oh my
That's
god.
okay. That's okay. That's
I'm
okay.
excited, man. I'm
Yeah, I
excited.
know.
Dipsy doo botcharoo, baby.
I'm not
No,
perfect.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But I do
But
agree. I do
yeah.
agree. It is an 8.5 out of 10. They did a very good job. Like you said, it was 50-50 booking. We were talking about it. No real winners in this tonight. At least no one brand can say that they got brand supremacy tonight. It actually ended up being intellectual equals. A la win Ben signs money, you get an extra $1,000 to the piggy bank for basically drawing with Ben Stein. So
Yeet.
and I
Yeet on that.
oh okay. I didn't hear what you said. But that's okay. It's all good. But at the end of the day, it was a fine show. Great action. Happy for the Hardys to become NXT and TNA tag team champions. The women's match again. I knew the NXT women were gonna win. I did not think it was gonna be Sol Ruka and JC Jane. I honestly thought it was gonna be Lola and
Jada.
I thought that was gonna be. Yes, I was pulling for Mustafa Ali kind of more to win the North American title. He did not. It keeps with all ego. That's fine, no problem. And then once again, Trick Williams was the albatross and cost NXT the men's Survivor Series matchup. TNA wins it, and the two right men who won it were the two guys who deserved to win it. Moose, who is definitely one of the longest tenure guys, and Mike Santana, who keeps his momentum towards Bound for Glory, as he's gonna eventually, I believe, will win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship from Trick Williams when we get for Bound for Glory very, very soon. So, all in all,
Amen.
a very solid evening. Michael Bullock, you got final say, and then we'll get into the Thursday night football game.
Yeah, 8.5. I mean, were you gonna say something, Florio?
I thought I thought Bullock led off on that, but oh well.
No, you did.
I did. I started.
No, you let off, Anthony. You let off. So
yeah, 8.5 for me. I mean, it was a solid show. I mean, yeah, like you said. I mean, there were no real winners because, like we said, NXT, TNA both got 2 wins. Yeah, Mike Santana and Moose were the survivors, and definitely gives Santana some momentum going into Bound for Glory, where I totally agree. Where I think he's gonna dethrone Trick Williams and become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And yeah, Trick Williams had to be that Benedict Arnold for NXT. I mean, all he cares about is himself. I mean, it's his ego. His ego's so big. I mean,
he needs his own damn zip code.
Exactly. But don't worry. He'll get his comeuppance eventually, and I think it's going to be a Bound for Glory, where
Sunday
I think
night.
Mike Santana will finally get his moment. And
definitely,
I'll say this right now: if the outcome is still the same, then watch out. I will go on a big time rant on TNA.
And we're gonna do a Bound for Glory review next week. So, all right,
So let's get to Thursday Night Football.
I do apologize for that botcheroo there. Couple things. Combination of a long day, and number 2, excitement for me personally on the sports side of things. I think you can tell why. So hopefully it continues into tomorrow, and I'll leave it at that. So all right. So with that being said, like I said, we're gonna hold off on the Crown Jewel preview until after we do the college football on Thursday, and we'll do that, and then I'll get into the rest of the future content after that. So, one last order of business here tonight. We have Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime Video, 8:15 on Thursday night. It looks like we drew the short straw on this one, guys. This one's not all that good. We got the Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the Meadowlands. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung on the call. Philadelphia opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. And Philadelphia leads the all-time series regular season-wise, 92-86 with 2 ties. Philadelphia won both meetings last year, including a 28-3 beatdown of the Giants in New York last year. The Giants' last home win against Philly was the year before, 2023. Giants over the Eagles, 27-10. So Philly coming off their first loss of the season, losing to Denver at home. Whereas the Giants ended up losing to the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. The Eagles averaged 73 rushing yards a game the last 3 weeks, and Saquon Barkley averaging almost 40 yards a game in that stretch. Barkley had 176 yards against New York in Week 6 last season. Giants quarterback Jackson Dart gets his first prime start, but it will be a get-right game for the Eagles. Philadelphia 2-2 straight up at New York under their coach Nick Sirianni. And the Eagles were jolted into a late-game wake-up call against the Denver Broncos by not running enough to put away their visitors. On this short road trip, you can bet they will be relentless in letting Saquon Barkley exact revenge on the ground. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio will scheme up some ways to get more takeaways from Jackson Dart as well. Philly's going to win this one going away. They're going to win this one comfortably. I'm going to go 34-17 Philadelphia. All over the Giants. They get it right. So not much more to say. MF, if there was ever a perfect time for a get-right game for Philly, this is it. Going up against these dud Giants and coming off getting embarrassed at home against Denver.
Yeah, I cannot believe that actually happened, but they did. They got stunned. They were upsetted. At the end of the day, I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles should win this game, win this one pretty comfortably. You're going to see a lot of Saquon Barkley. I think even Jalen Hurts is probably going to get a little bit of some of the love in this game as well, because he's going to feel really angry about how he played. I think A.J. Brown, I think Devontae Smith is going to have a good game. It just, the way that this thing's going to go, I truly believe when it's all said and done, yeah, Philadelphia should have no problem taking down the New York Giants. So give me the Eagles to win it. Michael Bullock, you have the final say for the night.
Yeah, give me the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to bounce back after that tough loss to the Denver Broncos. So give me the Eagles to win. Let's put a ball on this for you.
All right, and that will indeed put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again on Thursday night, 10:30 or so, right back here on the Tone 25 for another edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. We got a ton of great games. We got a smorgasbord Saturday here, friends. We really do. Red River rivalry, Indiana, Oregon, Alabama, Missouri, Ohio State and Illinois, Michigan and USC, just to name some of the exciting games we're going to be covering on Thursday night. And then, of course, time permitting, we'll get in a quick preview of WWE Crown Jewel. And then Friday night, we have the NFL show. We got week 6 of NFL Friday. We'll do a quick recap of Eagles Giants, and we'll get into the marquee games of week number 6. Just to name a couple, the San Francisco 49ers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Seattle Seahawks against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills against the Atlanta Falcons on Monday night, and of course, Sunday Night Football, the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe a Super Bowl preview, possibly. You never know. It could be. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but we'll have to wait and see. So we'll get into that on Friday, and then Saturday, when it comes to the Cerebral Smack Talk, we're going to bypass TNA and we're going to bypass SmackDown this week. I know MF wants to focus primarily on Crown Jewel, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to review the Crown Jewel, but we're also going to preview TNA Bound for Glory. So we're going to get into both of those on Saturday. And then 1 week from tonight, we got another loaded show. We're going to be reviewing Bound for Glory. We're going to get into Monday Night Raw. We're going to get into NXT. And we're going to preview the Thursday Night Football game for next week. And it will be the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals. So we'll get into that next week. So that's it. So until Thursday night for College Football Thursday, this is Anthony Florio here. For the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF, Michael Fletcher. And, of course, always and forever, our First Lady, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Lord of Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Thursday night for College Football Thursday, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com for everybody. And YouTube and StreamYard.com. And, of course, let's not forget, beyond anything else, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.